What's up, everybody, and welcome back into the Play the Fight Song College Football Show. Well, where did everybody go? Oh, that's right. It's just me and JP tonight. What's up, guys? My name is Jake, joined each and every single week by one of my co-hosts, JP. Cam is out on what should I say?
On the business.
Yeah, on business as a business meeting, an important businessman. Reese is joined with us in somewhat spirit as he's kind of sitting in the studio right now, but life on the farm is tough with the Wi-Fi. So we appreciate Reese hanging out with us. Maybe we'll bring him in if we want to give this a ride. But here at Play the Fight Song, we just, by the skin of our teeth, we grit everything out here. And me and you, Jordan, we're
in the elements.
Yeah, we cover everything college football. And tonight, somebody had to do it. Somebody's got to talk these conference championship games. So let's get her done. Let's cover it and maybe some coaching carousel stuff along the way.
Yeah,
it's been a wild week.
There's a lot going on in the world of college football, and it only gets crazier once bowl games are announced, and then you'll start to get more rumblings of players entering the portal as we already have. But my goodness, man, we got 9 great football games this weekend.
9 of them. Count them. And all of them have significant meaning to many. Some's playoff related, some just you want to win a conference title because winning conference championships still matters everywhere across college football. It doesn't always just talk about getting you into the playoffs. So we are going to do this a little differently tonight. If you're familiar with the show, if you tune in each and every single week, we appreciate you. Comment below any score predictions, thoughts on the week, whatever have you. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Grind don't stop. We cover college football here 365 days a year, all 136 teams. Normally we kind of break it down, keys to the game, things to follow, storylines, all that. We'll do that in some sort of capacity, but we're more so getting to like storylines, like what do these conference championship games mean for different things? Is there a game with high upset alert? Is there a game that'll make the playoff chaos? All that fun stuff. So I think this show will be fun tonight, Jordan. And then us two will do a little bit of a snake draft of conference champions who we think will win. And then we'll finish it as always, giving you guys a little bit of some money makers. We'll give you our best bets, even though I don't know how much money you've been making with us.
Hey, there's money to be made in the best bets. And the dog's dog is we got a little bit of a tie at the top of the standings. This is tiebreaker week. This decides the champ. Already crowned our ATS champion. Just a great battle. One of the better displays I've ever seen in a rivalry week. I think Reese was, what did I say? He was like 15,
16 and 4.
Yeah, 16
oh, did he push 1?
Yeah. Everybody pushed 1. I think that was there was a 3 somewhere that everybody pushed on. Or no, it was 7. It was North Carolina. State. It was 7, and that's the 1 push. And I think he was 16 and 3. Otherwise, just a display to just dominate that whole thing. So Reese is your new ATS board champion. So congrats to him. He does not have a chance at the Triple Crown. I don't think he's in the battle for the dog's dog. But he had an argument ready, and I'll tell you, Jake, it might have been the best argument we'd heard. If he was tied with Parks at the top there, he had him. He had documentation. He had everything you could possibly have to bring this to a courtroom. Federal judge would have probably ruled in Reese's favor, but didn't end up tied for it because his pick got taken by not being able to be on the show that week. So
that's it pays to be on the show. It pays to join us. I know that sometimes it's how the world works. I know we all have busy lives, but you got to be here present and show up. So Reese is here. He's also joining us on X. Before we dive into all of it, Jordan, I know I don't have this on the doc, but I mean, I feel like we'd be doing a disservice if we didn't touch on something, and that is just the absolute chaos in the coaching carousel this week.
Yeah.
I don't know. We could beat the dead horse and talk about Lane Kiffin. I feel like I've heard that 100 times as we're recording on Wednesday here. If you're joining us live, I think Chris Kleiman retiring might have been the biggest surprising news of the week. I think that even beats Lane Kiffin, but maybe that's the Big 12 bias in me as far as just like, whoa, I didn't see that one coming out of all of it. Any thoughts in general on it, or anything that you just want to give a team a shout out for a big hire, or what's your thoughts on this coaching carousel?
Yeah, the Kleiman thing is interesting because it sounds like there's a little bit personal reasons as well tied in with it. Obviously, you don't know like the whole story there, and if there was like a mutual meeting and then it just kind of decided to go a certain way. But It sounds like it's probably been in the works for a little bit now. Colin Klein obviously is a big get because that's a guy that's going to play for a national title this year as an offense coordinator, and then he just go coach his alma mater directly after. It is pretty darn cool to see that. I'd say it's cool to see some of this round kind of get a lot of G5 coaches. The American obviously getting picked apart. It's just part of the process of being one of the bigger money spenders and better conferences within the G5, and then adding in like the Florida distaste that they had just because Summerall was in the state of Louisiana is kind of funny, but I don't think that you could really compare the Napier, build up to the same thing that Summerall was doing, because Summerall did it at Troy, and then he did it at Tulane. Like there was multiple stops along the way.
Really good at Kentucky too.
Yeah, so I think there's a longer track record there. Now, that's not to say that he's going to be auto successful or he's going to just be a failure straight. Like it's tough. It's a hard job to win at, in the fact that you're competing alongside a lot of people. Your biggest rivals like Georgia is up right now. Miami's up right now. There's pieces there that he really has to get hunkered down and really figured out. Another one that I was kind of like looking at is just the Penn State one. I've been on that board nonstop, just listening to what's been going on, and I don't understand the process. I would like to get a debrief once this coaching search is over of like the day-by-day process that Pat Kraft is going through and what happened. I don't know what's going on, because you've now had Auburn, Florida, Kentucky. Who am I missing here?
LSU, if you want to go that route. Did you say Ole Miss? I mean, Ole Miss hired somebody like in a span of 60 minutes.
7 jobs that are high-level jobs that were hired quick and had it figured out. And there's one in Penn State that's been open since October. And we got nothing.
I think we deserve, if it's not made by the end of the week, I think Penn State fans deserve a public statement or something. I genuinely do. Now, does he have to do that?
They're alive right now, man. They're like they can't get anything definitive, and their reporters don't have anything either. Everything's close to the vest, and every time something goes up, it just crashes down harder than the last.
Yeah, which, I mean, Kalani Sitake came out of nowhere as far as like that gaining traction, and now I really don't know like who they're gonna go after. I
think the craziest part with the Sitake thing is he like was gonna take that job. Like in his presser, it wasn't like, oh, it was just a leverage. Yeah, I decided it was better. No, you could tell by the way he was talking and his tone that he was pretty damn close to that job.
And I know a lot of people have brushed off the Campbell thing to Penn State too. I don't think it's out of it. Like, I don't think there's a 0% chance anymore he leaves, because if there's anything we know about Matt Campbell is he wants to finish the job before he talks negotiations. Yeah. And maybe Penn State's the one being patient and waiting for him.
I got opinions on that one. You want to hear them?
As far as like Campbell going to Penn State?
Just in general.
Love to hear him. Sure.
If he's not gone in this cycle, I don't think
you don't think he'll ever leave? I've also thought about that.
My goodness. I mean, I guess the one that's always been floated is the Michigan job is like a big one to him. And
Ohio State, but Ohio State would never.
But I don't think Ohio State would. They wouldn't culturally hire. I think they would go big time, go big dog fishing. And then Michigan wise, I think the Sharon, again, I'm not anti-Michigan. I just don't think Sharon Moore is like the Michigan solution.
That could make
sense. So
that could open up next year. Like,
I don't know.
Things don't work out with Bryce Underwood. Like if you don't win 9 games, 10 games with Bryce Underwood.
They don't win 9 games in year 2 with that. I guess that makes sense. But if this is the cycle, I thought that he was a surefire gonzo. I just thought somebody was going to really make a really good run at him. And we haven't even heard anybody make a real good run at him, unless he's just that definitive no before schools like do that. And like maybe in Arkansas called, but he just was like, didn't like it.
I do this every offseason, so we're used to it. But another job that could open up next year, Wisconsin. That feels a little more like towards Campbell's MO as far as like in them having
the Wisconsin job over the Iowa State job that much. I don't know,
but
lateral.
Like, yeah, I would imagine Wisconsin has more money than Iowa State, but I'm not in the weeds of that, so I don't know. I didn't mean to turn this
at this point, so it feels like
I didn't mean this for us to turn this into a Matt Campbell coaching.
Yeah, I just was gonna say I feel like I haven't shared that. I was like, that's how I feel with this coaching search. Like, if he's not leaving this year, he's not leaving.
One thing we haven't mentioned too about Penn State is like at this point, I know it kind of feels like the backup, like the plan C, but why don't you just give it to Terry Smith at this point? Because players are being very vocal about it and saying that they want him.
Feel plan C-ish. That feels we've done everything we can. This is where we ended up. At this point, it does. Like if you do it within the first 4 weeks or like right after the season ends, that's fine. That's great.
Yep.
But now we're 4 days after the season ends. They're bowl eligible. He'll coach them in the bowl game. It feels like the longer you wait to end, like to hire the interim guy, it feels like it's a stretch and like you're just settling, which doesn't mean he can't do the job, but
right. Justin and I were talking about it last night with Terry Smith, and he's like, well, I said the thing like, just give him a 1 or 2 year contract. And he's like, why would you ever give a coach in college football a 1 or 2 year contract? Because what are you selling recruits? The guy's not going to be there in a year. Totally get his point. So I thought about it a little more. Okay. Then give him a 3 or 4 year contract with a super easy buyout. And then if it don't work, if it goes south quickly, like, then get rid of him. But at least you gave him a shot. And then if you make it a cheap buyout, then you can get out of it quickly. And then maybe a good coach, the right coach comes about.
Yeah, you got to get it done quick because when that portal opens in January and with the recruiting fall off that has kind of happened, it's a tough job. Like year one's going to be really hard at Penn State.
Penn State, in fact, had the worst recruiting class in the FBS this year, but I saw they retained 1 4-star quarterback. I saw they got one guy, quarterback.
James didn't call him.
Yeah, no, he didn't. He turned down Virginia Tech. He stayed with Penn State. I couldn't remember the kid's name, but I saw that on X today. Last thing I'd say about the
Penn State fans,
the coaching carousel stuff, as the Iowa State fan in me, I have to say it. K-State fans, you guys might be the luckiest SOBs on the planet Earth. You literally bullied one of your best coaches in program history into retirement and then got your prodigal son to come home at the right time in the midst of a playoff run, in the midst of a national championship run. I don't know how you got so lucky for being, quite frankly, kind of ungrateful for what Chris Kleiman's done for that program the last almost decade now. And it just landed in your lap. So don't mess this up. That's all I have to say.
Can he fix the Avery Johnson problem? That's
I think he could.
More than just
he won a Big 12 title with Will Howard. So
this is true. This is true. Will Howard did not have the same issues I feel like Avery Johnson's had the last 2 years.
All right, that's enough talking about K-State for the night. But that was good.
Get mad at us on the Cocaine Willie podcast.
Yeah, no, we still appreciate those guys. Those guys are awesome. All right, Jordan, let's dive into it. Let's go into our conference title previews again. Guys, we're just going to give you guys some headlines, and then we're going to talk about which games we think fall under some of these headlines. JP, let's go to highest upset alert potential in conference championship weekend. I'll go first, and JP, I don't know if you have one for this, but I'll go and say it feels kind of obvious, but you do have to do it because it's hard to beat a team twice in college football. For me, the Big 12 championship between BYU and Texas Tech is the highest upset alert to watch. It's tough to pick some of those other games because the point spreads are close on a lot of other games. And this one sits at 12.5, 13.5, but good luck trying to beat that BYU team twice. Now, I think Texas Tech is really, really good. I think they left some points off the board when they played them the first time in Lubbock, where I felt like it could have been a 30, 40-point game. But on the flip side, BYU, fun fact, has forced a turnover in every single Big 12 game this season, except for that one in Lubbock. So if you're BYU here, kind of a neutral site field. I think BYU fans are going to travel really well to Dallas. I think the Blues going to show out. So this feels like a neutral site game, kind of like let's treat it like a playoff game. Create chaos, flip the field, get turnovers, put the offenses in better situations. And also on the special team side of things, you got a really good kicker. And Parker Kingston has the ability to make explosive plays in the punt return game. He's got to be huge. It's cliche to say to pull off the upset, but turnovers and special teams and just being able to stay in the fight with your tough guys, if you're Kalani Sitake's group, that's the key to the upset on Saturday. Yeah,
a lot of it's going to, kind of fall into the hands of you got to get the run game going and just find a way to be a little more creative with it. Like it's still your identity, so don't go away from it, but find a way to just block these guys up a little bit better along the Tech front, and you can find a way to win a game. Another one here that I didn't have in the doc, like you were saying, like it's either really short spreads where it's like it doesn't really feel like it would be an upset in some ways, but I do think that there's a category here or a team matchup here that fits, and I have them later in the show, and we'll talk about them there too. But like Indiana, Ohio State, if Indiana were to knock off Ohio State, just the brand shock, I'm going to consider that. I know it's a 4-point spread. It actually dropped from 5.5, but the brand shock would do more and carry that upset value.
It's a good point.
That makes sense. And so that would do more to the college football perception of everything, and it probably would perceptually, like, to like the casual fan and other people, like, hurt the Big Ten's image that Indiana won it. I just don't think people still have understood what Indiana is and what they've really looked like to this point this year. So that's one I'd put here in the, highest upset alert. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but that is one brand wise. You're looking at scrolling on ESPN on the ticker, and that one pops up Sunday. You're like, what in the world,
They're like your Dan Patrick listeners, or like your Get Up listeners on Monday. They'll see the result and be like, Indiana won the Big Ten? There's still people out there like that.
Yeah. And, there's tons of them out there. And the metrics kind of tell you that, it was a 5.5 or 6 it opened at, something like that. The metrics tell you it's not the gap that is perceived to be either between these two teams. And I don't think that's understood either. Like, I think the casual person's looking at Ohio State, anything less than a touchdown, like, dude, can you believe that they're less than a touchdown favorite against Indiana? That's kind of where I'm at. Yeah.
Hand up, took it to the counter already. We bet Ohio State minus 4.5. Since we're not doing like game by game breakdown, just my quick thoughts on it. Like, I do think this defensive line for Indiana is different. I think they're super aggressive in the way that they blitz, and they can get after Ohio State, unlike that they really could last year when these two teams saw each other in Columbus. But also the offensive line's different with Indiana this year. Like, they got, I don't want to mess this up, but was it like Coogan from Notre Dame? He was like the starter at Notre Dame. He's the guy in the playoffs screaming F these guys, all this stuff. Like, that's kind of the mentality this offensive line for Indiana has adopted, that he's brought over from South Bend. And I think that's been a huge difference maker. Oh, and by the way, you have an NFL first or second round quarterback this year instead of Curtis Rourke, who we love, but was playing on a torn ACL last year. Like, there's a little bit of a difference between what Mendoza brings this year and what they kind of had last year. So no, it would not surprise me if Indiana goes out and wins this game. They are a legit top 4 team in college football right now. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But God, Ohio State is so good. They are so good.
Football team.
The defense just doesn't give anything up. And last week was kind of the biggest barometer test. Saying, who's been perfect, perfect all year, forced one, just tried to get it to the best player in college football, Jeremiah Smith, throws a pick. It's in the snow. Michigan's like, we got him. Mentally weak team. We got him right where we want him. And Ohio State's like, no, like we were just kind of trying stuff like this. We're different this year. Like, we don't get rattled by anything. And they absolutely crushed Michigan physically on the offense and defensive line. That's why I just think this team's different.
Yeah, no, the Ohio State secondary, I think, poses a different problem to Indiana than Oregon did. Oregon was really good, but young in some spots, and Surratt really had a good day doing that. Now you're going to be going up against Downs and a guy who runs that back end really well, and kind of controls what Ohio State does defensively in that side. So, like, it's going to be tougher to just continually gash these guys. Not that, Indiana only wants to get big plays. They just pop a lot of them due to just the sheer volume and scheme that gets guys open. But you've seen Mendoza throw footballs in gaps. You've seen him throw in really tough windows under pressure too. And it's probably something he's going to have to do, because if there's one mismatch, you'd really lean Ohio State. It's that defensive line against Indiana's offensive line. Like, as solid as Indiana's offensive line's been, it feels more gettable, right, than some other ones along the way.
Let's move it along. Let's go to this category. Makes the most playoff chaos. Which conference championship game makes the most playoff chaos? Again, I kind of went chalk here, but I think you guys know where I'm going with this. You guys, if Duke wins on Saturday, wow, what the hell? Like, what's going to happen? Well, I'll tell you what's probably going to happen is we're going to get 2 G5 teams in the playoff. Now, just staying on the ACC side of things, the line's at 3.5, neutral site in Charlotte. The weather's always kind of weird in this game, kind of could play a factor in this one, but really Virginia dominated the first time these two teams met. So I'm curious to see why the line is where it is. Vegas is usually right for a reason, but I've also seen this Duke team have a close spread like this 100 times this year. Illinois comes to mind, and they just crap the bed. And they crap the bed, but if they win, it would be a massive playoff chaos.
That this is a Duke defense that just wants to create straight chaos, and they haven't been getting the turnovers that it really helped them last year. And just hasn't happened to this point, especially in the second half of the season. And honestly, like, I think there's some real sharps out in Vegas that have Duke on the number better. And so there is some discrepancies in people's numbers. And obviously that's a big piece in math in the world. We don't have a model at PTFS. If anybody wants to help us build one, we'd happily
just wait 3 years from now. We'll get that.
But for me, like, if you're not going to turn them over or create, some real havoc in front of Chandler Morris, the Virginia team's shown their ability to kind of be methodical and score offensively and not, just give the football up in some spots. Defensively, I think they're still gettable, but nobody's really been good enough to not turn it over against them and stay on them for 4 quarters. Like, you look at the Louisville game, if Louisville just doesn't turn the ball over 4 or 5 times, like, they win that game. Like, and there's other instances of it, and that's credit to Virginia, obviously, because at some point, right, you got to capitalize on all those, and they have. The Florida State game, they did the same exact thing. So it would create a lot of chaos. And does it – I understand that, like, the 5 highest ranked conference champions get in, but does it open the door to Miami? Like, does it kind of take the weight off their shoulders if Duke does win that? And it's like, I get it's supposed to be a conference champion, man, but, like, we're sitting here wondering kind of thing. And I think that's almost like the worst case scenario in some ways. So I just don't know what they do. And the precedent hasn't been truly set to that point.
Cowboys got some opinions on this one. This ACC title game, man, like, this is accumulation of just all of the shit show that has been the ACC this year, last year, everything combined. And this is what Jim Phillips has done with making his own bed and these tiebreakers and all this stuff. And now you are on the precedent of having a really good Miami team who could actually, I think, compete for a national title. And you're going to keep them out because you have some bad tiebreaker scenarios. Now, BYU loses, maybe the head-to-head gets over Notre Dame. We'll have to wait and see if Miami can jump over them. But, like, the playoff committee has done stuff before where they'll still value Notre Dame's higher ranking, but that's not really the discussion we're here tonight. I'll ask you this, Jordan, about this game. If I set a line at 3.5 total turnovers in this one, you taking the over or the under?
I think you got to go under just based on how the last one went. You think you have to?
I think you got to go over.
If Duke wins, I mean, I guess if Duke wins, you're going to get 2 Virginia ones, in my opinion. They'll turn it over twice. I think you're due for 1 Mensa pick or something. So that gives you 3. I'm still going under. 4.5 seasons.
3.5. I said 3.5. 3.5 feels like a good line to sit at.
4 is crazy. I think 4 would be just a gross game. And probably lenient to the over, because these are guys that if they throw picks, they might go the other way. Not like, oh man, that got tipped, just tough break. These are notorious throwing football as you question and scratch your head.
I think, like you mentioned it, like, Duke's defense creates havoc. Chandler Morris is very prone to throwing picks. And then on the other side, like, I've seen Darian Mensah turn the ball over 9 times against Illinois this year. Like, I think it's all on the table for a 5 turnover game. And honestly, that's how I would want this game as the nightcap in Charlotte. Hopefully it's like raining like it always is. It's gross. It's like 17-17 or maybe even a little lower scoring than that. And both teams just don't want to get a conference title. And then we haven't even gotten to the conversation, and we'll probably save that for next week. But, like, what the hell does Virginia look like in the playoff? Like, what? Like, nobody's been talking about that.
Boise in last year.
If they win, they're in. So,
another chaos scenario, and I kind of root for it, is if BYU does get Tech. Like, I think there's 2 Big 12 teams worthy of being in. Will they get in? I don't know. It does, like, wreck some things, though, and it does cause a little bit of chaos to the fact that you don't know where to put Tech anymore in the numbers, and you don't know where to. Are you going to put what's BYU ranked right now? I can't remember off the top of my
11th.
11. So do you move them to 10, put Tech at 11, and then your G5 at 12? Is that what they would do?
Could you imagine?
That seems crazy.
Could you imagine a World Tech being like an 11 seed too? Like that.
It's not who I want to see. Like, that's just me being honest.
That's not a team I wouldn't want to host if I'm one of the host playoff games. That's for sure. So Big 12 for JP, ACC for mine as the conference championship game that could create the most playoff chaos. Let's move it along. Let's go to just the most intriguing matchup of the weekend. And I think there's a lot of good candidates for this one. JP and I kind of have it on our graphics, but for me, it starts with the Green Wave. And the American Conference title game this weekend is set for an awesome matchup because we've seen a ton of great matchups this year. We've seen North Texas USF. We've seen Memphis and Navy. We've seen Navy and North Texas. I think they saw each other. And we've seen Tulane play a bunch of teams. But we haven't seen North Texas and we haven't seen Tulane yet. And this is going to be a good cap to a really good and competitive American Conference title. And for me, I can't wait to watch the Tulane defense versus the high-flying North Texas offense. Like that's really what this one comes down to. Both coaches could potentially be their last game with their school. I'm imagining the loser in this one won't coach their team in the bowl game, but the winner will coach in the playoff. And it's two really good coaches who I think are slam dunk hires at both of their schools. And this is setting up to be an awesome one. Is this one Friday night?
The American is
This is the Friday night.
Because this is the only Saturday game for the G5.
So this is kind of like your old Pac-12, like awesome Friday night conference championship matchup. And I think it lives up to the hype. Now, some of the casual fans might not pay attention to this one, but the winner of this one's getting in the playoff. We know that for an absolute fact. I think both of these teams are very deserving. I would love to see North Texas's offense in a playoff game, but I think Tulane's resume beating Duke, beating Northwestern is good enough to, they've already played in Oxford. They've been tested this year. Didn't go well, but some lessons learned along the way where I think that could translate into a playoff game too. So I'm really interested to see this one. North Texas wise, like the way I lean in this is, does North Texas really want to, on the road, playing at Tulane, do they really want to get into a matchup where they're put in a phone booth? I don't think we've really seen that from this North Texas team yet this year. Now, the defense has been transcendent. The defensive coordinator they brought from Sam Houston has been light years better this year. Now, they gave up a bunch to USF, but for the most part, it's still been a much better defense than years past. And that's all this offense needed to be a real playoff contender. But like, it could be cold. I know it's in New Orleans, still could be cold, could be gross. And you have an offense in Tulane that hasn't really, didn't even hit close to what the potential I thought it was. But I thought the defense has been really, really good this year. And I still think that they have dudes. Like, I still think it's one of the best defenses in the group of five. Super fascinated to see if North Texas has the toughness to go in there and come out with a win.
Yeah, to me, this is two coaches who obviously didn't want to burn any bridges. So I think that there is a little bit held here and that both teams are going to be pretty locked into it, right? I don't think that there's kids within the Tulane locker room that are mad at Sumrall or, with North Texas and Morris. I just think if you're North Texas, like, you have to just find a way to get a couple stops and maybe if it's slowed down. Yeah. If it's slowed down and Tulane just kind of runs their normal offense and they're not hitting anything big and Ratzloff and the rest of his crew is just kind of going, I think that you're hoping that one or two big ones pop for your offense. That way you kind of negates that to a spot. Because if North Texas has to be drive after drive working on this and just can't get away to pop one or two big ones, like 40+ touchdowns or 40+ yard touchdowns, I feel like that's where it's like, man, we can't even buy a big play. We have to really scratch and claw for all of this. And I think that's something to circle there. Cause I felt like even in the South Florida game, like, they were getting theirs, but then they couldn't give it back to them and they weren't getting the stops even on drives they score. Tulane wise, it's not the same Tulane team I think we've seen the last couple of years. I think Tulane last year, 2 years ago, and even that one that played USC in a bowl game I think those were better Tulane teams. But I think that says more about the state of college football and where everything sits than it does the actual Tulane roster. Is this the best team in the American? I still somehow think South Florida was, but
yeah. There are a lot of South Florida fans that lean that way too, who are happy to see Golish gone.
I don't get that. I don't think it's Alex Golish's fault. You chose to be cocky and go into Annapolis and play Navy. Yeah, it's at your own risk. Like, for me, Tulane would be probably, I think it would get more, smiles and happiness from people to go watch them play somebody, because there's a hope and there's a brand there that they've been good in the past. They can fight with some teams. I think the North Texas one wouldn't, raise enough eyebrows and bring happiness, because it's like they're not going to get a stop is how it felt, right? And it's a good offense, but Are they going to deal with the physicality? Are they not going to turn it over? That kind of thing. But most intriguing, like with this though, like is like James Madison just out of this? Like that's an intriguing one because they're
get
the
to them.
largest. Yeah, well, I'm just saying like they're the
No, you're
largest
good.
spread, and then they go out there and they're going to run points. And Chesney already mentioned that he wants to stay through it too if they get the shot at it.
Yep.
And so you got to bet like when they go in and play a Troy team who really worked, real hard to find themselves in this spot and not one people really circle in the Sun Belt this year. I certainly wasn't on, Troy's going to be a Sun Belt title. It feels like there's a case for James Madison because they play really good defense. They've consistently put up points and blown teams out, but I would like to know, and I could probably do this research by myself, but like the Tulane JMU line or the JMU North Texas line, I know that doesn't play into conference style or play into rankings and how you what G5 team you put in. I just like to know because I understand the strength schedules differently, but
can we not get, and granted, a lot of players might opt out, transfer, whatever, but could we not get, if Virginia wins, could we not get a North Texas James Madison bowl game or Tulane James Madison bowl game?
Again,
why can't we get that matchup?
You could, but it wouldn't be
the same.
I think too many would leave Denton for Stillwater, and I think New Orleans to Gainesville would be a fast track for a couple of these guys as well. So that's the tough part with it, right? Like we used to get just nonstop banger G5 games, and we do every year in every bowl season with kids staying around. But I mean, it used to be otherworldly how good some of these G5 teams were that would play each other.
Let me ask you this to put a bow on the American game. I took the under at 66.5. Thoughts? I think Tulane comes out and makes it ugly early, and it's just a lot of points to catch up.
You're going to know early.
Yeah, I will know. That is
high.
Good point.
If you get through the first quarter and it's 7-7, you're probably still feeling pretty good. Yep. If it's 14-10, 14-14, you're kind of a little hesitation. But if you're 7-7 with one stop aside,
I just don't need Jake. I don't need Jake Retzloff UTSA. God, that could be so.
Sounds like a lot of people did that in the Dome though, so it's okay.
So that's why I'm not as nervous. It's just weird things happen over there. That's an outlier.
In the Dome, we're just fine. It's not in the Dome, we're just fine.
Your most intriguing game of the weekend.
Yeah, you have to look at a place we've covered quite a bit in the last month. I feel like. But it's Kennesaw State and it's Jack State.
Yeah.
This first one was really interesting to me, and we covered it as our G5 game of the week when these two teams met earlier in Jacksonville, Alabama. But this is a Kennesaw. I don't know why I said Tennessee. A Kennesaw team that turned it over 4 times. I think Odom had 3 of the picks. They brought in another kid, ended up throwing a pick himself, and it was over pretty quick. Like. Cook ran for, I think, over 130. Creel was like 125-ish, somewhere in that range. Like, they ran the ball really well. Kennesaw did as well. Obviously did it from a little farther behind. I think it was like 22-14 at half or something around that. Right around a one-possession game. And you just kind of ended up seeing a Kennesaw team that was able to move the ball consistently and then turned it over. And then didn't come up with it. So this becomes intriguing to me because it's clearly the 2 best teams within Conference USA. I think Western's pretty solid too, but I think these are the 2 best teams within the conference. Neither one of them play exceptional defense. They're fine. They're average, probably towards the top within their respective conference. But if there's no turnovers, how does this move? How does this kind of work? Yeah, it was pretty brutal. So I just don't know how this works if like you don't get the turnover again here and you get the exact brand Kennesaw wants to play. That's a little hot flying, very good offensively. Average to below average against the run, but better against the pass. And then the Jack State team that's like, I'm not going to turn it over. We lean on one of the best backs in the country. And the Creole kid's gotten better and better as we've gone. I still think that they have underrated receivers. There's that Petway kid on the outside, I think isn't bad at all.
Yep.
And then, like, you got to play your brand of football. You got to play your brand of football. There's no turnovers. What does this look like? And so that's why I had that one circled because Kennesaw's a 2.5 point favorite. And I think it was 3.5 last time they were there. And so it just tells you that whatever happens the first time around, the numbers aren't going to change and you can't predict turnovers. So that's why I had that one circled.
Correct. And All great points. I will say to our AWL Friday KC, who's joining us in the chat, appreciate him every single week. But the line is where it is because I will say on paper, games aren't won on paper, remember, but on paper, Kennesaw, I think, is the better football team. And I do think he has a very funny joke that says Amari Odom can't throw a birthday party. I would disagree. I think he's really come onto his own. He's had like 9 touchdowns in the last 2 games after he had that terrible game at Jax. But I will say the matchup plays in favor of Jax State. I do, because the way they run the football, the pass defense for Jax State is the strength of the defense. Yeah. So that matches up well with Kennesaw. And then the ability to, if you get up by a couple of scores, Creel and Cook just hold on to the football. They run really well. Kennesaw doesn't have a great run defense. That's where it plays in favor of Jax State. Also, they've been really good at home. And people forget these G5 games, they're not neutral site, they're home games. And I think that Jax has been really good at home.
You're going to get a heck of a crowd down there. You know, obviously with last week with the Iron Bowl, there was some real battle and they caught some flack from Western fans. It's like, you know, the Iron Bowl's like right down there. It'd be a similar situation to like, as we sit, you know, in the state of Iowa when, you know, Drake's got a really good men's basketball team, but Iowa State's hosting Iowa that night. It's just not the same thing. We'd all want that, you know, that other school to kind of be really good and talented. So, for me, like line of scrimmage to a point too, I think Kennesaw took a massive leap from a season ago. And I still think Jax has found a way to, they know who they are and they block up really, really well. And if you can just get Creel, and he misses some easy ones consistently. It's very Gronowski-esque, like just some open.
That's a good comp.
It's exactly what it is. Like you can scheme guys open, but he has to get on the ball. If he does that at a higher clip than, or at his average or above his average, it's tough to stop this team from just getting 5-6 yards a pop, and then every once in a while, like he gets out of the pocket and makes a play. So I expect points here. To be honest with you, even if it slows. I just think both teams would find a way to pop a couple.
No blocked kicks this week, please. Just please, Jax. We don't need that at home.
Yeah, what was the deal down there, man? That made that a stressful bet last week.
Could have been easier, but they made it hard on themselves. But Jax State doesn't lose at home. So
hey, both teams got an absolute bangers last week, and so hey, everybody take a deep breath. We're here now, kind of thing.
CUSA, the race for the CUSA title was on fire this year, and we're going to get one more good one. So most intriguing, I had American, JP had Conference USA. Let's move it down the line. Let's cut, like Parks always says, your underrated game of the weekend. I promise we'll get to the big games, but these G5 games deserve some love. My underrated game of the weekend.
We're not apologizing for covering more G5 here.
That's true. That is true.
There's a billion shows out there that are only going to talk about the 4 power conference games. And even at that, probably only 2 of them. So you can go listen to that. We're going to cover all 9 of them here. That's just how we rock.
All 136.
Our brand on. Yeah.
That's how we roll around here. The MAC title, JP, is very underrated to me because, again, one of these conference title games, you're not playing for a playoff spot. Well, who gives a shit? You're playing for a conference title. This one's going to be awesome. This one is at a neutral site in Detroit every single year. We love it. It's in the dome.
Yeah.
Climate controlled. Let's just roll these 2 football teams out there and let's just see who the better team is. Miami of Ohio gets to their 3rd straight MAC title. For someone who took Miami of Ohio over 6.5 wins this year, like Chuck Martin wins games in October and November, guys. Who cares if they go 0-3 in conference? Like MACtion games on Tuesday nights, Chuck Martin's going to find ways to win with or without his quarterback. And they're doing it again this week as they'll start a redshirt freshman. On the other side, I have fallen in love with this Western Michigan team. It's fascinating because these 2 teams met earlier in the year. That is Western Michigan's only loss in conference play this year. So we saw this though last year, JP. We saw Ohio lose to Miami.
Yeah, we did.
And then they came back in Detroit and absolutely slapped them around. I don't know if Western's going to slap Miami around this time, but I think they're the better football team. Like I think it is pretty clear Western Michigan is the best team in the MAC this year. And it's because of the trenches. I think the offensive line's found a groove. Brock Lowry, the quarterback, in the run game has been really, really good. And then on the other side, Nadami Tucker, if I said that right, Nadam Tucker, the Houston transfer defensive end. Like, guys, this is like a 1st or 2nd round draft pick, a defensive end for Western Michigan. He's lights out in the D-line.
On all the boards, if you're curious.
He's so good. And I just think that defensive line is going to get after a redshirt freshman quarterback when you don't have DeQuan Finn. So I like Western Michigan in this one. I bet they're spread at 2.5. But at the same time, go and try to bet against Chuck Martin and Maction and see what happens. I guess I'm going to find out.
Yeah, most of the time it's not going to end up in your favor, to be completely honest with you. One thing I will highlight is both teams are very stout defensively, and you kind of touched on that with just some of the pieces that Western has. These are two of the best defenses in the MAC. Numbers wise, top 25, top 30 defenses in the country in a lot of metrics, especially against the run. Obviously, that's where Western makes their hay with Lowry and is that Jalen Buckley in the backfield as well with them. Like that's how they work. And you're going to run into a Chuck Martin team that Jake said doesn't beat themselves. Last year was a little bit of an anomaly in some spots with their loss to Ohio, but it's in turmoil a little bit. And I think when you have the DeQuan Finn situation that they had, maybe that rallies kids a little bit more and kind of goes into all that. And I don't think they are being portrayed as the underdog necessarily. I think it's 2.5 because it's two really good football teams. And where do you put a number without, trying to keep money on both sides of everything.
Miami was the only one to shut Western Michigan's run game down this year. So that's why we're also sitting at 2.5.
Exactly. And like there isn't a real, smile and wave at a passing attack out of Western. Like they have the ability to, but it's not really been the same way that Western team's been in the past.
They beat Northern Illinois by throwing for 63 yards. This team will give you the Service Academy treatment if they want to.
Yes, exactly. But they're I'd say they're less. I mean, again, I don't know. That feels. I was going to say they're less.
Got to say it.
Yeah. They're less prone to just kind of be non-existent offensively through the past than Miami, Ohio, but that's really not the case. Like you go look at the numbers, like neither one of them, if you just looked at completion percentage and like attempts, they're both like mega low, like in the 110s within college football. Like neither one of them want to. But I guess in my thoughts there would be, you're going to take the kid who's played more snaps at quarterback in this situation. You know exactly what happened. That is a benefit a little bit to, how they're going to play your really talented run game. What does that look like this time around?
So for your underrated game, I don't know if Parks put this on the graphic for a reason. Is it the Mountain West or what do you got?
I didn't have one specifically on here because I thought there were other fits within all of it, or for some other games here. But like we talked about the Conference USA one that would fit perfectly fine right here, as you see on the graphic here. I think the Mountain West one would be here if New Mexico was in this. I think
can I say something? We cover the G5 around here, and we love the G5, but the Mountain West is the most unappealing game of the weekend, and we give everybody the fair treatment around here. Nobody's prone to criticism around here, even though we love the G5. Again, this is kind of like the ACC situation, Mountain West. You play shit football, and then you get into these tiebreaker scenarios, and now we have UNLV and Boise again for the third straight year, and this is the most
computer rankings.
Yes, by the way. And this is the most unappealing matchup of the last 3 years because Boise's fine.
Yeah.
They're a good G5 football team. They've got a solid defense. UNLV doesn't play defense. They don't have that in their name. And Boise slapped them around the last time these two teams met. And the line's only at 4.5.
Yeah, I saw 4.5 before we logged on.
I see it going that way because UNLV does not play a lick of defense.
Yeah, I had a couple notes on this, right? Like UNLV is brutal against yards per rush, yards per completion defensively given up. This game was 20-24 at half. This was still a Maddox Madsen team, or led Boise team the last time these guys got together in Boise, actually. And a lot of us, I'd say, throughout everything, had UNLV Boise State in our Mountain West title preseason.
But not like this.
It was not like this. We didn't first of all, we kind of looked at Hawaii a little bit and like, hey, they might make some noise. They did, right? New Mexico, Jake talked about how they kind of built with like guys they knew and understood and played into it, kind of had their peak, right? We thought this Boise team would be a little more offensively, to be completely honest and frank about it. And we thought, the Mountain West may struggle and that'll end them up here. The UNLV thing is confusing because I don't know what that schedule was, but this is not a team that should be playing for your conference title in some ways. So it's underrated in the fact that you might see a lot of points, but
so that's also interesting.
These are not the same two teams as they were a season ago.
The over-under is sitting at 58.5. Guys, this one got in the 90s when they played the first time.
Something.
It's 58 to 31, I think, when these two teams saw each other. Guys, they gave, I don't know, if I'm looking at the losses here, they lost to New Mexico, they lost to Boise, talking about UNLV here. I'm biased, clearly. The Lobos are my team. You're on mute there, Jordan. But
I just don't get how computer metrics put you in over a team that you definitely lost to just because you have other losses. I don't get it. I don't.
And did we see a New Mexico Boise game this year? I'm looking. We did not. So
I don't think we saw
them. You're missing out.
He was the only one to play them.
You again, Mountain West. You shoot yourself in the foot. We're missing out on a New Mexico Boise matchup that I think would have been awesome.
And I get it. Like Boise, you're gonna sit, go play in Pac-12 football next year or whatever. I just think if you're the Mountain West and you're losing some brands and some teams that spent some money, right? Like, would have been a pretty cool, like, hurrah situation, right?
Yep. Have your underdog team.
Can't change it on the fly, but come on, man.
Well, nobody knew what the tiebreakers were, so just rig it yourself. Nobody would have asked questions.
Yeah, they said it's computer modeling or rankings, and I'd like to know the guy sit behind the desk on Thursday afternoon or whatever day that was. They hit the number. Run algorithm, please.
Yeah. So shame on you, Mountain West. I'm a little displeased with what we got there. So that does it for all of our headlines, but we will cover them all. Rapid fire, JP. Games we missed. I mean, didn't cover the.
I got one that I want to talk about here.
Yeah,
we talked about it, but I have this highlighted in my notes.
Okay.
And this is my current thought. Let me know if you feel the same. But I'm just gonna flip my notes over here because I took a couple that I just wanted to. For me personally, if Indiana's within this number and it's a one possession game, or they lose like within that 4 or that 5 or whatever number you're talking about, or win outright, there's another national title within the Big Ten this year. That is beyond convinced. I think you would have Oregon, who's started to slowly get a little more respect just because they played all right at Iowa and didn't beat Indiana. They get looked down upon for some unknown reason. And Ohio State's the only team that people like really look at and be like, wow, they are really good. If Indiana wins this football game, the national champion is coming from the Big Ten. Like you can quote me on that. That is my guarantee.
We'll put a pen to paper.
It'll wake things up because I just think the SEC has really good football teams. If you line up, I feel like Ohio State or Indiana against an Alabama, I'm taking either of the Big Ten teams, against Texas, against A&M even. Like, honestly, that's where I'm at. And I think Georgia has a case how much better they've gotten defensively and played some better football. But like, Gunner and those receivers, please go beat this secondary. Please go run the football 35 times on either of these defenses and these fronts. I just don't think there's not a lot of SEC teams that can do that right now. So I said Big Ten reigns supreme again, because this will be a third straight within the conference. And I'm not one to pound my chest and yell Big Ten, Big Ten, Big Ten, because I'm not seeing the dollar sign all this. But it is like, I just think it's a wake-up call. If Indiana plays really well and they're within that number, like, don't come knocking asking like, hey, can I get back in on that side with you? No, door's closed.
There's a conversation for another time, and we'll know more after this one. But it's the world in which, if Indiana wins a national championship, we have a whole off season to really kind of shatter the college football world and talk about like what that means.
Nitpicked and just be like, well, that doesn't count. They win a 12-team playoff.
Somebody will.
That doesn't count. Oh yeah, they live usually south of the Mason-Dixon.
Yeah. So let's go there. SEC thoughts. I love Georgia in this spot. Alabama's only points came from the first quarter or the first half against Georgia, and they just held on. Alabama, weirdly enough, Kalen DeBoer has had Kirby Smart's number the last couple of times, and it's kind of funny because I said Kirby Smart has Texas's number. Guys, this is different. Like when Georgia and Texas take the field, I expect Georgia to kick Texas's ass every single time. In Mercedes-Benz, I think Georgia figures it out, and I think they beat Alabama comfortably. Comfortably could mean 10 points.
Yeah.
But I think
there was This is cover 3 highlighting kind of that Georgia ran the ball pretty well in this matchup this last time. And then I think what we talked about, and one of the big things everybody took away was 7 straight third down conversions of 5 yards plus Alabama had within Sanford Stadium. That is a team who watched the quarterback get really, really comfortable. And you're still looking at Ty Simpson, been really good, maybe not as efficient, but that happens when you get more and more weight on you. You get hit a little bit more and more as the season goes on. Georgia's going to have to find some way to get some more pressure on him than they did the last time around. And for me, if you're going to look at how Georgia competed in that Georgia Tech game, I don't think it really correlates to how they'll operate in this one. I'm not saying that Georgia didn't show up to play. I think they played just fine and hard. I think Tech came out and played really hard in that game as well. And that's just one where you have to sit there and take it for what it was when it happened, push it to the side, understand that game's not happening again. Much like, was that last week or the week before when we were Pitt played a couple
Notre
weeks.
Dame?
They got beat by Notre Dame. Yeah, they played Notre Dame and then kind of got dog walked and then went down and played Georgia Tech. It was like that. I just need you to understand that we got to flip the page here.
Yep.
So I don't mind Georgia in this spot either. I just need to see them kind of. I feel like there was plays that were missed in that game at home when they played Alabama last time, and I'm just like, okay, so you're going to be that good on third down again, Ty Simpson. You're going to be that clean again in the pocket because he was darn clean. He stood up and just kind of did his thing in the pocket the entire time. What does Gunnar Stockton look like in this spot? Are we going to finally see him a little more design runs? I didn't think we got it in the Alabama game as much. If the run game's good and this kid's getting carries, that'll open up, ability for their really talented receivers. But man, if you're Kirby, this one would be just a smile on your face kind of thing and a little confidence kick. I think the team that comes out of this with a loss, if they don't play well, like it is a confidence drainer. And I think it's kind of like a hey, hello moment a little bit more so. The team that comes out of this with a win, I don't think either one of these locker rooms are like pounding their chest thinking how great they are at this point. Because I could point multiple games where neither one of them looked like national championship caliber teams. But as the season's gone, here's another one to puff your chest about. Really good win, really good spot. So loser here might be like, hey, like we got more holes than we thought. And that's going to be the national narrative of that team before they play a first-round playoff game.
I can tell you where it could be with Georgia if they lose this one. It's going back to the defensive line again. It's like, oh, they didn't get pressure again. This defensive line is not the Georgia national championship defensive lines of the past. They can't get pressure. This team won't stack up against Indiana or Ohio State. Good luck. Like they might win a playoff game, but that's it. Alabama side of things, it's like the run game. It's the offense. It's like this team doesn't have the athletes like those other teams did back in the day under Saban. I don't know if this offense can carry them. Like those are the two bad case scenarios for the losing team. Yeah. And that's where I kind of see it measuring up. My last point would be, you mentioned it, the Georgia Tech game doesn't mean a thing to me last week. It was everything for Georgia to lose. Georgia Tech was going to give their best effort. They weren't going to be in the ACC title. They had to go all out for it. Georgia was already in the SEC title, and they're like, let's just win this game. Okay, let's not hurt our playoff resume. Let's just get out of it alive, and let's just get through it. So that's kind of the way I see it, which also makes me like Georgia in this one.
Yeah. Any other ones that we didn't touch on enough? I guess
wait,
I want to touch on what?
Wait, we haven't touched on Sunbelt action yet.
I thought we talked a little James Madison, but I guess we
a little bit like as a playoff team.
Yeah. Goose Crowder's return for Troy, I think, is a big piece of this. I know they kind of they played some lower Sunbelt teams the last couple of weeks, and they found a way to be successful.
33-0 to Old Dominion a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that one, that's the one sore thumb with all of it. But Crowder is a guy that we thought would be towards the top of the Sunbelt in a lot of pieces of this, and then broke a collarbone early. And then now he's back, which is, by the way, no joke. I understand it's like 6 to 8 weeks how it works. I've broken both of them. That's a hell of a timeline, man.
Guy's a soldier.
And so that's something to pay attention to. Is this is a really good JMU defense. If they can get him rolling a little bit, it helps a ton. But they don't run it well at all.
No,
it's like 3 yards a carry at most. Not great, Bob. It's not going to do a lot of things if he's going to have to be protected and he can't run the football well. So It's not an explosive offense out of Troy. They're gritty. They kind of grind through games, but when they've played upper echelon Sun Belt talent, they've kind of gotten pushed around a little bit.
And I think JMU is just going to slap the absolute shit out of them. JMU has one of the best pass defenses in college football. I think they have the best G5 defense. And you mentioned it. Troy doesn't run the football. So really, you're going to trust a kid who just came back from a broken collarbone and slinging around the yard? I love Ra Thomas. It's kind of cool to see him bounce back after his situation from Georgia. And he's one of the better receivers within the Sun Belt, but that's not going to be enough. And then the other side, like this run game that JMU has, people need to watch it. Guys, Knight is really good for them. He's the best running back in the Sun Belt. Alonzo Barnett is really good. He's finally getting comfortable after coming back from an injury this year. He's finding a groove. Oh, and by the way, JMU also runs it with like 4 other running backs. Ayo Adai is like the 4th guy in their running back room. Guys, didn't he run for 1,000 yards? Was it in North Texas 2 years ago?
Yes.
And he's the 4th running back in that room. Like, that's how good. This is why in the group chat,
will do, man.
I love James Madison. I don't care what their strength of schedule is. They are the G5 version of last year's Indiana. They slap the crap out of everybody. They beat the tar off everybody. Their defense is legit, and I just want to see them get a shot. And I think they'll win this just by a billion on Saturday.
Shouldn't have played a bye game at Louisville early in the year. I guess that's all it takes to ruin things. I like the JMU thing. We've watched them the last couple of years, and I think under Chesney, it's kind of altered a little bit. Very high flying through the air. They used to be in some spots, and now the run game's kind of the money of all this. The Holy Cross teams that were really good for Chesney ran the ball like tops the FCS outside of service academies, and then I think the Presbyterian or one other school runs like a triple option type thing.
Davidson with life coach.
Yeah. It's fun to watch. And so the scheme is really unique as well. It's not one that you see a ton of times, but the 23.5 in a conference title game kind of gives you pause. But I will remind people that a lot of times when the number's this big in a conference title game, it hits. They usually cover. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. Not just talking about the sadness that was the Big Ten when Iowa played in a couple conference title games, but there's been a lot of G5 instances as well. I wish I came with a list of those, but yeah, if you're Troy, man, like just come out and play hard football. You've established yourself as one of the best. I think Sun Belt programs over the last 10 years, easy, like 2 or 3 head coaches to bring you play for some Sun Belt titles. So we'll see with this one.
I will say, Mr. AKC, I said Knight was the best running back in the Sun Belt. I did not say he was the best running back in the group of 5
in the G5.
So I'll clarify that. I think we've covered everybody. So let's get into our snake draft that we'll do. And then we'll get into our betting segment because I think we'll touch on everything as we do this. Snake draft. Jordan and I are going to pick 5 teams that we think are going to win the conference title this weekend. Just win it outright, not cover the spread. And for every winner we get, we will get a point. If Jordan and I tie, it will be by our winner's point differential next week when we announce who's the winner of this. And
how
again,
are we going first?
Ooh, I didn't think about that. I was going to say that it pays to be on the show. So the fellas that aren't on the show tonight, sorry you can't partake in the fun games. You're out.
Let me get Siri to give us a random number between 1 and 10. Give me a number.
8 every time.
Okay.
Good podcasting.
We got to figure out how to work this phone here. Siri, give me a number between 1 and 10.
Drum roll. Oh, where's our drum roll? We can't.
On the dot, Jake. I don't even have to tell you what I guessed. So it's 8.
Well, it's always 8.
First.
It's always
or
the
second,
8 ball.
I guess.
It's always the 8 ball. Okay. I will say, I mean, I'm just going to take chalk here because I think there's no question JMU's an automatic win.
If we're doing point differential as a decider.
I think I've won this just based on that one. I might be cheating a little bit, but JMU's obvious answer.
So do I get 2 or 1?
You can go 2. That's fine. Since I picked 2. JMU. Yep, you can go 2.
Cool. Point differential.
Don't be worried about that. Just be worried about winning. You want the most winners.
Yeah, give me Boise then.
Okay, that's a good pick. That's an easy. I think that's a
So I get one more here.
Yep. Are you writing these down? I should probably.
Yes, I am writing these down.
I think, yeah. Boise's, I know the spread's only 4, but there's no
I am
way
playing a little bit of
UNLV
this.
wins.
I don't know. I'm playing a little bit like, hey, I kind of want to think about the point differential. And so I'm trying to walk through all these in my head as I continually close out every single app. Give me Georgia. I'll go Georgia.
Pretty confident that Georgia's going to win the football game. I like it. I kind of side with you there as well. Oh, man, do I really want to take the other big spread? Guys, I would love to see a BYU upset, and I think it'd be fun. But I just don't think there's any chance in hell Texas Tech loses on Saturday. So I'll take Tech. And then now this gets tough. Now we get into the closer games. A lot of
loving the
toss-ups.
first 2 picks. I forgot about the Big 12 being a bigger spread. I thought BYU had a chance there,
and I just need him to win. That's fine. You can pick BYU. That'd be a big win for you. The other one I'll probably go with. I like a lot of the low underdogs in this one, just because our AWLs in the chat. I like Jack State. I'll take Jack State as my third pick. BYU, Jacks, or not BYU, Texas Tech, Jack State, and
you can have BYU if you want.
James Madison. No, I'm good. I'm good on that.
Okay, I'll take Ohio State here. I would
pick.
We'll talk about it later.
I think it's going to come down to this one. Oh yeah, you get 2 more. I'm sorry. Or you get one more.
I got one more. Just give me Virginia. Just in case we get the Duke we've seen all year, not one game anomaly.
Okay. My last 2, I mean, this will probably end up being the winner. Whoever wins this game will win this snake draft. I'll go Indiana.
You only get one more because there's 9 games.
I thought we're going 5 picks. Just
we're
in
going
general.
5 picks. All right.
Just 5 picks in general. Indiana, even though I laid it with Ohio State. So that's good. And then Western Michigan. I think Western Michigan wins. So I got Western Michigan, Indiana, Jack State, JMU, and Texas Tech.
Yep. Is there a game we haven't picked one out of at all? American. We have not.
Yeah, no. That's too much of a toss-up for me. I don't want to touch it. I don't know. I just don't.
Yeah, I don't know what.
I don't. You get one more, right?
Yeah, I can guarantee myself points here by taking something opposite you. But I'm not going to do that to a guy who's here every week for us. And so I'm not going to do that. What I will do though is give me North Texas. Just a team that I feel it's favored short, but maybe there's a little more, pep in the step for like, hey, we did have the year we didn't we expected to be here, nobody else did. Maybe there's a little extra edge there. And there hasn't been as much noise from Oklahoma State that Morris is now there. And there's a lot of Summerall videos floating around there that I think players just kind of get tired of seeing. Whether or not they're mad he left or not, it's kind of piece of everything. So give me North Texas.
Okay. There's a few scenarios I see North Texas winning. I think there's only one scenario I see Tulane winning. So
one of them involves a lot of points. The other one involves even more points. And
I don't know.
And the other one
Tulane just hasn't
interception.
I bet to Temple a couple weeks ago, and Tulane made me look stupid. But I just think like Tulane, they haven't looked great to me all year. But they got to go on the road and do it.
Yeah,
so
it should be. I think that game needs highlighted more from the national perspective. I think with the playoff chaos that is the ACC, with the all the coaching craziness, I think the G5 more than ever this year has gotten the butt end of everything.
Yeah,
haven't been previewed as much. They're not on ESPN tickers. They're not, something getting covered. It's just that's the nature of the beast right now. Like if we're being honest, and I'm not saying I think a Cincinnati team that went to a playoff and played an Alabama team and favored by double digits against some of these teams, but that beats the purpose. Like if you want the betterment of the sport, treat the sport with the utmost respect, top to bottom.
Well, I can tell you, JP, there's gonna be a lot of college football shows that are not going to know what to do with their hands. They're just going to be so flabbergasted and confused if there's 2 G5 teams in the playoff and they got to cover these games. They're like, I haven't watched JMU all year. I haven't watched North Texas all year.
What am I
going to do? We got you covered here. We are absolutely ready to break all that down if that happens, and we hope it happens. This is a pro JMU podcast, pro Jack State podcast, pro North Texas podcast. We love it all, and it's been a fun year to follow and cover those teams. So let's wrap it up, JP. Let's try and make some money.
Let's do it. I just need an official ruling here. Reese, you're in the chat. Parks decides he doesn't want to respond 90% of the time when I ask questions to the group anyway. Do I
Slight-
get first dibs on both of these because I'm on the show? Not that Reese didn't try. Reese can put his in the chat. And
Do we have all the picks from the boys?
No, because again,
can I give
I
them
haven't got a
picks?
response.
I'm going to give them picks
can't.
then.
No, because Reese is in the chat. So what
Reese
we'll do is,
but I'm going to give Parks a pick.
Yeah. So Reese is tied in best bet with me and Parks.
Wait,
or is it me, you, and Jake? I can't remember.
You want me to call? I'm pretty sure he sent his picks to Justin. You want me to call Justin quick? Just live on the show. I'm pretty sure he did. I'll call Justin.
If he did, then we're not going to give him out here. I'll give mine out, but that's just kind of how it'll work. Because this is like the worst podcasting ever. I'm trying to figure out how.
No, this is great podcasting. What's up, Justin? We're still on the show. Do you have Parks's picks? Yeah. Okay. You should send those to me so that we can get them on the show. All right. So we're good for Parks. All right. Bye. All right. So we'll leave Parks last. You go first then.
I get to go first. Best bet is what we're doing, correct?
Yep. Best bet. So let's actually, while we wait for that.
If I have his, do I have to change since we're
yes.
Okay. I don't think
best bets from last week. Reese 5-8 on the year. He had Alabama, Auburn under 47.5. Cash it, take it home, take it to the ticket. Parks had Iowa State, who minus 13.5 at Oklahoma State. That was a loser. That
did not happen.
He went into that situation. He should have known better. But Parks is 7-6 on the year. That is tied for first. JP, who's 7-5-1 on the year, had Delaware minus 5.5. Little CUSA action against UTEP. Cover it, take it home. And then the losing streak continues for your boy, who is 7-6 on the year. Tennessee minus 2.5 at home against Vandy. Didn't even win outright. Just another bad showing by me, giving terrible picks. But we're still above 500. We got a chance to remain above 500 with my picks. So Jordan, the floor is yours. Get us started.
I know Parks won't have this because he doesn't ever play totals. Give me under 49.5. Texas Tech, BYU.
Okay.
I think if BYU wants to stay tight in this one, they got to play really good defense. I think they just ended it up in opportune positions last time in Lubbock. Less turnovers, slower possessions. Give me the under 49.5.
I have a total of 49.5, and it is the over, and it is not the Big 12 title. I will go JMU Troy over 49.5. There is a world I see JMU getting to 50 by themselves. And then a team like Troy, if they're down 50, they're still going to throw the ball a ton. So let's throw it on the third stringers and get some points so we don't get obliterated in a conference title game. Some style points, right? So over 49.5. That one's extremely low, but Vegas is usually right. So you want me to give Parks' pick, or we got to do you have Reese's?
Reese is not in the running for this.
Oh, okay. So we're just going to leave him out. We're doing a tiebreaker. Gotcha.
Yep. This is tiebreaker territory.
Parks has Ohio State with the points, minus 4.5.
How many points?
4.5 is we'll give him 4.5.
That's important. That's important because that was the whole argument that Reese had for the dog's dog that we'll get to next on a number we gave Parks that we should not have. Dog's dog time.
Dog's dog.
Parks and I are tied atop 20. I had to go outright and find myself a winner. It actually ended up happening in Berkeley, California.
Plus 13.5. What a win.
Yes.
What a cover.
Check it.
On the field. On the field.
And tried to lose it, and we wouldn't be in this position. So, also honorable mention, Montana minus 1.5 against SDSU this weekend in Missoula. Dog's dog. So I know for a fact that with his being Ohio State in 4.5, I could play the other end of that on dog's dog and be like, yeah, I'm winning somewhere.
Show some integrity, JP. Don't be that guy.
You're right.
Show some integrity
here. Then let's burn the whole thing.
Win them both. Win them both.
Duke plus 3.5.
That counts. If you know us on the show,
find me another option.
Yeah, I was gonna say how we do it here is you can't pick a dog that's like plus 2.5 or less. That's not going to count. And a lot of these are close.
4 options this week. 3 options. One of them is the Sun Belt. Cross that one out.
Well, here's what's going to happen, JP. Either you're going to win or nobody's going to win, because I guarantee this one's not winning. Parks has UNLV plus 4.
Holy smokes. Okay. We might end up in the first week of bowl season here doing this. But yeah, I'll just take Duke. Give me chaos. Give me craziness. So that's good to know. I appreciate Parks having those picks in for us.
Yeah. Otherwise, we kind of would have defeated the whole purpose of this entire show. Should we recap last week just for funsies, right? Reese had Mississippi State +7. That did not get there. Not quite. Cincinnati +4.5 versus TCU is what Parks had. Didn't get there. And you know what definitely didn't get there, JP, was Central Michigan +10.5 against Toledo. Nope. That definitely didn't get there.
Jason Candle did not give us the special.
Yeah, he's been pretty good as a double-digit favorite this year. Good on him. Good on him. I'm glad he can finally win games he's supposed to. So that is our conference championship preview episode. That was fun. JP, I appreciate you tagging along with us here. A little Jordan Pippen action as we two-man this thing all the way through. We gave you some high upsets, potentially. We gave you some bracket busters as far as playoff chaos scenarios and just some of our most intriguing matchups of the weekend. Before we get out of here, any more thoughts? Yeah. Anything we missed?
Yeah, I just we got a lot of new people here, and I don't know if you'll get to this this point in the pod or in the show. But when bowl season comes around, we'll break down the games that are happening each week. We do when we pride ourselves on that. Like, we'll talk about the games. We'll go calendar week, so we'll go. If we record on Wednesdays, we'll do Thursday through the next Tuesday or Tuesday through the next Wednesday and kind of roll through it that way. So, like, if you want to talk a bowl game and see on the insights, we are doing this. We did it last year. It went really well for us. We're really happy with it. I think the first bowl games are on the 13th. So you'll want to be tuned in.
Sadly, because Army Navy needs to be by itself, but that's just not the way it works.
We'll cover Army Navy as well because we have our resident Army guy here, not in studio tonight, but on the show.
He's listening.
Yeah, just I think that's something to pay attention to. Our videos do really well on that. If you want to talk about the bowl games that are going to be happening in the next week or two, come here because we'll be talking about it. We can guarantee it, along with the college football playoff. But you'll get enough of that coverage at halftime in 90% of these bowl games. We want to give these bowl games the light they deserve.
Do you want to hear? You play the outro music. We're fine.
No, you're good. Say your thing.
I'll just say that we'll save this argument for another time. But people who call bowl games an exhibition, you're wrong. It's a consolation, and I'll explain more of that probably on our next show when we do the whole bowl game breakdown.
Our first round of them, yeah.
Let's do
Jake,
it.
Appreciate you for hosting tonight, stepping up to the plate here.
Do what I can. I do what I can, and I do it for the show, and I do it for the boys because we love covering college football all year round. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Before you head out of here, subscribe to the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Sorry. Comment below any score predictions for conference championship weekend. We want to hear from you guys. We'll be back next week. Pretty sure all the boys will be back. Everybody have a great rest of the week. Enjoy your conference championship weekend. Until next time, how we always send it out. Let's play it.